Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at AppleWood for the PC. The game was produced and developed by Garrett Thompson and was released on Steam this year in 2019. The game is a retro style platformer which takes many elements from past games such as ToeJam and Earl, Super Mario, Sonic and many more and mixes them all together to create this brilliant little gem of a game. So if you are looking at AppleWood and wondering is this any good or not, here's more details on what this game has to offer. The game's story starts you off as the main character Ringo, and you begin the game by being woken up by a terrible noise and then going off to investigate. During your investigation, something terrible happens and a massive fire spreads all across AppleWood, depleting the forest's food supply. Now with the food supply dwindling, you and the rest of your friends who live in the forest are now on borrowed time before the food stocks reach zero. It's at this point in the game where you take up the quest to travel to the top of the legendary mountain in hopes to find rare seeds which might save the forest and stop everyone reenacting the cannibalism scene from the movie Alive. The story itself is very well done and extremely well told, with character interactions between each other at various points in the game to advance the story and tell you what's happening in the world that you're in. This part of the game actually surprised me, as on first sight you would simply just think that it's one of those retro style looking games which is meant to be based off Mega Drive and SNES type of games from that era, so really no character interactions at all then. Well, this is where you would be deeply wrong about this game. Just because a game does have the old classic 16-bit style retro look about it, doesn't mean that it isn't full of character and life. Pretty much all the characters in this game do interact between each other, and yes, you do even have choices to pick from when choosing your answers. It is rather surprising just how much character interactions there are in this game, as every character you meet along the way has several lines of dialogue added to them. So don't just think that because this is a 2D retro style platformer that all the characters in this game will be limited, because they really will surprise you. The gameplay itself is a mixture of RPG, platformer and puzzle all rolled into one neat and tidy package. The base of the game is your standard platformer with the main character going around levels jumping, climbing, collecting items and doing various other things along the way. The other half of the game is cut up into different elements, one part being RPG, where you will interact with other characters, gain knowledge and skills and learn about everyone in the world that you're in. The other half is puzzle based and will basically require you to think in order to proceed. At first these puzzles don't seem that hard at the beginning, but then the game suddenly gets that much harder later on and gets more complicated, more difficult and more harder to wrap your head around. I'm fairly sure everyone out there has played some type of platform before, and realistically everything that you would expect here is in this game. So while nothing here stands out and isn't really that surprising, it is instead all in the detail of how the game is very well presented. And AppleWood does a very good job of presenting its gameplay to older and newer gamers, as it's very helpful in telling you where you need to go and what to do, but also by giving you the option of choice to learn things on your own if you so choose to. The graphics for AppleWood are created using Game Maker Studios and are designed in the retro pixel art style of that games of the Mega Drive and SNES era. While having the look and presentation of those games from the 16-bit era, it has a much more cleaner look and feel to it, with the game running at a much smoother pace than games from that period. Everything from the characters' designs, levels, objects and items we are created from scratch, and have all clearly had a lot of time and thought put into creating everything in the game itself. The graphics in general are nice, and I am fairly sure many of you out there have played a SNES or a Mega Drive game before, so from past previous experiences, you should really know what to expect here from this game, appearance wise. The environments of the game consist of you travelling through the woods, going through the caves, climbing mountains, and travelling across dark open plains and many more. The levels are broken down into sections where you'll have to travel to each area, solve various puzzles to proceed, and then depending on which area you are in, have to fight a boss or possibly two. Each stage is fairly big, with them only getting bigger and more complicated the more you advance into the story. Each stage also has various collectibles that you can find, and also has various hidden collectibles tucked away for you to try and find later as well. The environments themselves are very well done, with each one being beautifully well animated and created, and my only nitpicking that I would have to say about them is that because they are so large that at first you might get lost in where you need to go and on what to do. But really, that's my only complaint about the levels. If you're up to this point in the review, you're probably wondering if you should buy this game or not, if it's worth your time, and if it's any good or not. The answer to this is fairly simple. Yes, I definitely would recommend this game, and yes, it definitely is worth your time. It's got a very good story to tell, it's got great characters who all have unique and funny personalities, it's got great music, it's got good level design, and are all put together to make a very charming and enjoyable game. The developer of this game spent around 5 years of their life creating this title, as everything in this game was done by them, themselves, with no one else helping at all. So everything in this entire game was done by just a single individual, and that alone is rather astounding, as this game's really good. And you can tell right from the very start of the game that this game did and does matter to them, and that they wanted the player to enjoy it just as much as they did in creating it. The game itself is really fun, it's fantastic, it's enjoyable, and stands out as a fantastic charming little gem of a game which I hope many of you out there will enjoy, but also give a chance, much like how myself did, as I'm sure that you will instantly fall in love with this game and what it's got to offer. Would I recommend AppleWood? Yes, I definitely would. Well, that's it for this review guys, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.